Hi, it's Ursula from ursula-smith.com, and today I'm going to just go over quickly, give a quick brief overview on carving stamps. There's tons of tutorials out there, so this is just going to be a quick overview, just to give my little point of view. And it really was to kind of cover the two different types of carving material. Some people carve erasers and everything. Usually the stamps that I want are much bigger and a little more intricate than stuff that you can carve on erasers. So I buy big sheets of the pink. It's almost like eraser material. And I like this the best. You can see I used a lot of my sheet already. It comes in probably 5.5 by 9 inches, I believe, when I buy them. But I like it. It's a little bit stiffer, a little bit harder to carve than the Speedy Carve, which is, they're both by Speedball. The off-white color is very, very easy to get a design carved out of. You can even scratch it in with a pencil, literally. It's that easy. However, I don't like it, and I don't know if you can see, it's very crumbly. And so I could literally break this. See how easy that just broke right off? I can't really do that. I could rip this, but it's much easier, much harder to rip or destroy, really, is what I'm coming down to, the pink material. So if you're just starting out or you're testing something, you can go ahead and use the Speedy Carve, and that's what I use for if I'm in a hurry. You know, I really need to get the design and I'm just winging it and, you know, wailing it out, doing something, a simple design that I can carve over and over. I'll use the Speedy Carve, but I don't like it because then I can nick it with my fingernail, you know, and now that's got a dent in it. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't, but it's just easier to wreck. So using my finger, see that little thing right there? Now it's got a dent in it. So if I spent a lot of time carving this into an intricate stamp and I have long fingernails or I drop it onto something sharp, I can ruin it. So for that reason, I would not use the Speedy Carve. Unless, like I said, you're just starting out, then you might want to get both and, you know, use this for basic things that you can carve over and over again or just for testing purposes. But really, the pink stuff is much better. And then you're going to need a carving tool. So a lot of them will come, you can actually buy a kit with the pink stuff and the carving tools in them. They make another one where these pieces fit inside, which is nice and handy if you're taking it with you. I just use a Ziploc bag. And then the big thing is, you know, where do you get designs? If you draw, obviously that's an awesome thing, and you can use your own designs, or you can buy these, you know, source books that have tons and tons of designs in them. And so if you're using something like this, you can use tracing paper, and you just get your design, put the graphite or tracing paper against the stamp, and then just trace. What I wanted to show you today is just using very basic graphite, a couple of ways to, I had it open to my page. Sorry, while I stall and trying to find my design. Shoot, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So these are very light, but you can see, you know, I've been playing with some scroll designs, and it's very easy to, once you have this, you could, again, put tracing paper underneath your design and trace over it, and that's fine. But the graphite actually transfers pretty well, so you could take the stamp material and just kind of put it down on top. You could do it the other way, which would probably be a little bit easier, and just rub the paper against the carving material. But you can see it transferred pretty well. And so now I can just go around and carve out that design. The other thing that I wanted to show you is, what I've been playing around with also, is I've been cutting out designs designing and cutting out designs for stencils and masks. And so I had one of these and I started tracing. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to trace this on paper because I don't want to wreck my carving material. So I just snag a piece of paper. And if I trace around this, so I'm tracing. I'm not going to trace the whole thing. I'm just tracing my design. Let me do the interior so I can make my point here. So there's actually a little bit of a space there. But if I'm tracing, it's very hard, if it's a thin area, it's very hard to get my pencil in. And now you're on the outside of the design. Even if you, or I find, even if you carve right on the line, I still find that my designs get distorted. And so I don't do that anymore. What I do instead is, and you can do two different things here. You can take your cutout and you can see this little piece here. I've just colored it in with pencil. And you can transfer that pretty easily just by rubbing and pressing. And the graphite will transfer. Okay? Easier than coloring the entire thing with a very little pencil point is you can use graphite powder. And you can find this online and in art supply stores. And then you can just very quickly color your cutout, and then it's the same. And I'm just really pressing, not even rubbing, just pressing. So to me, that's the easiest way to take a cutout and get it onto your stamp that then you can carve. All right, so my other tip is, as you can see, I did this on purpose. I am on my husband's desk, which has this nice little leather surface. Don't carve directly on a surface like this or anything that you care about. Make sure you have something heavy on the surface so that when you're carving, because you're digging in, if you miss, you're not going to gouge the surface. And I don't know if you can see these little nicks. Oopsie. So take an old book, take a mouse pad, take whatever, and you're going to carve on top of that. And so carving is pretty easy once you get the hang of it. So if you want to start out using erasers, that's fine, because at least you can get a feel for it. But the big thing is to choose the tip for the job that you're trying to do. So this tip is very, very, very fine. And I don't know if you can see this. It's probably hard to see. But it's just got a teeny tiny V, and it's not going to take out as much rubber. Whereas this one has a little bit bigger V, and it will take out more rubber. And then there's, you know, the big kahuna, you know, that will take out quite a lot at one time. So what I try to do is I go pretty slowly, and if there was my outline here, I would just basically follow it along. I also try and cut my rubber. There's my cut. I use the Tim Holtz red scissors. I use these for everything. But they will actually cut rubber. So you can cut out your design, and I would suggest doing that, especially if you're trying to do anything curved, because then as you're carving the curve, it's much easier to spin the rubber. So you're kind of spinning the rubber and moving so you can get a nicer curve. And of course the white stuff carves very easily. So if you're doing designs where you're just basically scratching into it, then the white rubber is probably a bit better for that. And sometimes you can even just use, you know, like a pencil to gouge out. You know, I wouldn't use it with the pencil, you know, I just use it without the lead. And you can literally scratch into it. It won't come out as nice because you'll get all this frayed stuff. So I really suggest that you use a carving tool. But that's how easy that white stuff, the Speedy Carve, will carve and or wreck, as I've said before. So that's my quickie tutorial on carving. There's tons more out there where you can actually watch people carve an entire design. So feel free to go and explore, and we'll have more blog posts on what you can do with those carved stamps in the future. Thanks for joining me today. See you next time.